There he is.
Oh my God, they finally got the air down in here, so it's not as cold. You guys ready?
Yeah!
You know the drill, right? Because I keep this job by making people feel special, and that includes you. But right now, I'm going to make somebody else feel really special. Marty Grabstein, come on in. Here's the power of the dog.
Wow. You know, this is a very funny thing because I know
sit down there.
What's that? No, you know what's funny about this is that all these people showed up. God bless you. All I could see are all the empty seats. You know what I'm saying? I have people. It's okay. This is not a stand-up comedy act. It didn't require a big laugh on that, and clearly it's not getting it. Well, it's okay. Is this disappointing already? I think it is actually. Hold on, let me come in again.
Take two!
All right, here's what we're going to do. Because Marty, there's two types of people in this world. There's those who have a glass half empty. There's those who have a glass half full.
All right, man. Thanks for coming, guys.
No, that's better. I know. And his glass is broken, filled with scorpions and sand. Please have a seat.
Don't worry, I'll destroy it again very soon.
And other miscellaneous things.
That's how depressed he is.
I'll find a way to destroy this again. Don't worry.
We're excited. You know some of the people.
Empty seats.
But there's at least 40, 50 people that showed up. How
More.
would you like my job? When you know the secret to doing this? Knowing no one comes to see you. It's very simple. Do you understand what I mean? The fluffer. I fluff them. So
I
I'm
got a
ready
few
for
people,
you, and then
a
you
few
come in and
people.
finish them off.
How much you pay your therapist?
There are many.
Talk to him.
I won't even touch that because we can go down a rabbit hole we want to stay out of.
We're trying to keep it PG-13.
You understand what I'm talking
Yes,
about,
sir.
right?
All right.
Hi, everybody.
Hello.
All right, whatever it is.
So, who's got a question ready, or you want me to start? Well, no, I have to start. Oh, no, this dude, you got something on the side of your head. You're welcome. Go ahead and start.
So, just to start us off, are your nights filled with the terrors of thousands of kids the same way that my nights were filled with the terrors of Courage the Cowardly Dog? Like, I was so
All
scared
the
growing
questions
up.
going to be like this? 2.5 hours. No, go ahead.
Marty.
No, what was the question? Go ahead.
No, this is a joke. I was asking.
I know there was comedy.
Yeah.
Trying to,
How often and because my brother and me both nightmares from Courage, right? Nightmares from Courage. A lot of people I grew up talking to all had nightmares from Courage. How often do you ever think about the influence you had on young kids? I mean, I loved the terror of it. I mean, it's like a roller coaster. You know what I mean? Do you ever think about that?
Okay.
You think he cares about the young kids? Is that what you're asking?
I'm wondering if the fear of them keep him up.
I wonder if I set the tone for a very chaotic interview Q&A session. It's very possible that I can set this strange tone. Don't worry, relax. You didn't miss anything exciting. Believe me. You didn't miss anything exciting, guys. You came in at just the right time, believe me. Because if you were here earlier, you might have walked out by now. Like all the other people here walked out. All right.
Your glass isn't even half empty. It's
That's
broken.
right. That's right. So here's the thing. By the way, is anybody recording this thing?
No?
No
We
recording.
have to have permission around here to record stuff.
Do you
Well,
want
we
me
can.
to record it?
Could you record it? Could you record it? Whatever
Do
you
we
can
have
get.
something recorded?
I mean, I'm not going to stop, but whatever
No.
you could record, a tidbit of it, whatever it is.
I'll text you. I don't
No, it's okay. Anyway, if you can do it a little bit, it might be fun because look at all these lovely faces. But here's the thing. To answer your question, yes, I am. First of all, I do think about that. How many people come to me and say, you were the source of great, many nightmares. Your show was many nightmares, and it was terrified me as a kid, and yet I felt a great affection for it. And I'm very happy about that because I believe that nightmares are going to happen whether you're looking at these shows or not. Because the terrors and the anxieties that we can create for ourselves without any assistance from any creative enterprise are much more terrifying and much more damaging and devastating. And often we don't know how to handle these things. You know what I'm talking about? You know what I'm talking about, right? Of course you do. So my thinking is that courage gives, on one level, this terror where people can kind of, Stephen King referred to it as a dress rehearsal for death. He said horror is a dress rehearsal for death, because that is what's behind all these terrible things. That is what's behind all these terrifying things, is the fear of death, right? Which we all have. And this is, by the way, my upbeat part of the interview, just so you understand. It gets very dark after.
We've got nothing left.
I'm sorry.
No, I'm loving it. I'm loving it. Keep going.
By the way, I know we just started recording. What happened here is that I just finished telling them that Stephen King said that the horror is actually a dress rehearsal for death. So we've been discussing that. So yes, the anxiety that you people are going through without my help, when I come in and do it, it's safe in a way. So you get to feel your heart beating faster, a little bit of anxiety, a little nervousness. At the same time, it's kind of, that you can just turn the TV off. You can go get some more popcorn, whatever it is that you need to do. So it's kind of an interesting thing in that respect. I know I went the long way around with that. I'll try to be more to the point with this guy.
Well, hold on now. Before we get to questions, I want to start something because I knew this was going to be fun last night when we met for like 5 minutes. No. I mean that in the best way possible. You make my job so much easier.
Very depressing.
I love it. I love it. We'll open up a vein later to see.
I'm getting depressed from this interview.
But you're obviously such an outgoing, such a funny person. So how does one get, and you did sketch comedy, man. You were lab rat. So how does one, can you talk a little bit about your career progression? And then I will turn it all over to you all. Is that good?
That's great, man. That's great to do that. It really is. Honestly, a lot of people have things they want to say, and they might even ask the same questions you asked, but coming from them, it feels better,
Yeah.
I sketch comedy. Listen. Here's the thing. When you're an actor in New York, and this is still really true, it's hard to get the work. The work doesn't happen that often. Actually, even for established, even for big, huge actors, many of them are not always working. Often are looking for work. Of course, they have enough money that they can afford to be unemployed. But other than that issue of money, period, the idea is that it's very difficult. So, you got to find a way. You got to earn a living, and so, or at least, even if you're just earning a living, you need to ply your trade. You need to act, because if you're an actor, you need to act. You need to do it, right? I have to do it whether I'm getting paid or not, actually, because it's something that means something to me, right? It's really important to me. So I found a way where I basically collaborated with another person, a guy named Rick Mowat, and actually he is a very different looking from me. He's tall and blue-eyed and blondish and really very middle American looking. So the combination of physical, differences is great. And we decided to collaborate and do sketch comedy, whereas basically we wrote our own, 3 to 5 minute snippets, sketches that have beginnings, middles, and ends, right? And we would perform them in front of people, and that's what we did. And so it was so exciting because we were always doing it. And it really and we actually got pretty far. We almost maybe made the big time and did it because it was just, it's a long story, but the point is.
We have time.
We do, right?
We have a few minutes. If
Yeah, okay. Anyway, and the bottom line is we got some really good reviews. We did this full-length version of our sketch comedy act, and we kind of put this together with a kind of a framing device of a story to make it like a full-length play, but really just an excuse to do a whole bunch of our sketches in 1 hour and a half to 1 hour and 45 minutes, stretch in a theater off Broadway. And so we did that, and it was very successful. It got great reviews, but we were starting to get so many people wanting to come that they had to turn people away. But we couldn't extend it because there was someone else coming in to the theater after our 6-week run. So we couldn't extend it. And it was a really delicate time because you want to kind of extend it and keep it, then it becomes something. And then the bottom line is that by the time we found another place and, started publicizing it again, it had lost its, its dynamic, it had lost its momentum. But it doesn't matter because what I'm talking about here is, it was one of the greatest periods of my life because I got to basically always be doing stuff and working on my craft and doing different things and different characters, and I became a better actor because of it, and it was very rewarding to me. So this was great stuff for me to do this thing. It was very, very great stuff.
It's awesome. Yeah, thank you all. I didn't know if any of you were familiar with that. All right, who's up on deck? Sir, I love the beard.
Thank you.
Go.
Was there ever a time you went into the booth and did that courage scream and you're just like, I can't do it right now?
I just kept destroying it, like I'm doing today at the event. I'm not screaming as much at the event, but I'm still, talking nonstop. Here's the thing, in a sense, when the scream would happen, as bad as it did feel at times, first of all, I knew it was going to be over. It was basically, once it was done. Plus, they also gave me a hand. Sometimes they said, you know what, that's okay. We got this in the library. We have a library of screams, So we had it in the library. So we said, you know what, you don't need to do this today. But I never wasn't able to get it. Because you know what? No matter how destroyed, unless I have laryngitis. I never had laryngitis. But unless I have laryngitis, then I just am always going to be able to, because it's all scratched. It just sounds like my throat is being destroyed anyway. So if my throat is being destroyed, it keeps sounding like it's being destroyed. Which is why you would ask that question to begin with, in a sense.
Well, Kevin Conroy talked about it in the last, about how...
Kevin Conroy, I'm sorry.
No, but to give you some context, he was talking about how you protect your voice and how you save your voice and how you can hear.
Yeah.
But you didn't do any of that.
No,
that's awesome. I don't know
But here's
either.
the thing. It depends on what I'm doing.
Yeah.
So if I go up here, then I am saving my voice because it's going into my head, which I'm sure Kevin Conroy discussed that. Because he would talk about
No,
head voice.
you're much better. Go ahead.
No, that's okay. Don't listen. Do me a favor. Don't placate me.
Okay.
You understand? You don't have to play. Hey, listen.
I'm
Look at
loving
me.
this.
Go with me. I love the piano. Anyway, all right.
He's the second person to ever say that to me on stage. The first one was slightly prettier, though. I'll give you that. Keep telling the story. Is there any more to it?
I had nothing else. I was stretching it.
Oh,
But
shit. Well, let's go
But
to
I
the
got the Kevin Conroy's thing, so I felt good about that.
All right. In the hat, and then we'll move over here. I'm having a blast.
My favorite Courage episode? It's hard for me to answer it as just one, so I could give you 3, 4. Anyway, first of all, one that seems to be a favorite of so many people is the King Ramses curse, the return the slab. Why everybody loves that one. Yeah. So that is one of my favorites, Then also I love Freaky Fred. Right? It's a good one, right? Then also I like, for a different reason, The Hunchback of Nowhere. See, it's an emotional, right?
I love that.
Because this poor, creature was, devastated, on the outskirts and living, like The Hunchback of Notre Dame, which one of my favorite stories of all time. I've read that 3 times, The Hunchback of Notre Dame, in my life, so it's really kind of great. I was very moved that Courage and the Hunchback became friends, right? And they played together, and because Courage was also sort of a mystery, sort of lived on the outskirts, and he was anxiety. Hello, darling. How art thou? So, just seeing the two of those characters together was just watching the show itself made it really warmed my heart a lot. It wasn't like a scary episode. It was really touching episode. And then the final one, the first episode, right? The Shadow of Courage, because it was the first episode. It was the first time there was a Courage the Cowardly Dog. There was no Courage the Cowardly Dog before this. So I was like in the booth, and I was like, this is gonna be happening! Like, I'm gonna be doing this thing that had never happened before, and I was gonna be breathing life into it. It's a very exciting thing to do that, right? So that, for me, has a special thing.
All right, go ahead, sir. And then we'll move around. Go ahead.
Going on.
Yeah, you, right
So
here.
you and then, listen, you and then we're gonna move around.
You, VIP.
Okay, so going on the question you guys, what's your favorite character that you did, or your favorite villain or monster that you liked in the show?
Oh, favorite villain?
Or monster or something.
Monster, whatever, I would say, I would say villain-wise, the one that just seems the most is Cats. Can't argue with Cats' smoothness. So he was so calm and, his stillness, not unlike Michael Myers, very still. My representative likes Michael Myers, so I give a little homage to her and her Michael Myers obsession. But yet, it was the stillness, ultimately, of Cats that made me find him that much more devastating in a way.
Okay. Sir, right here in the red.
Did you, for all the villains and the characters on Courage, I will say one of the things that stood with me was the music. Did you have any favorite tracks from a certain episode by any chance?
It's funny you should say that about the music, which will lead me into another little career thing, which could be that you had that in mind.
I'm listening.
You had something in mind.
I'm loving
Listen, if
this.
we can make your job easier, God bless, right? You've had enough. You're working hard today. You
am.
got to deal with Kevin Conroy. There's people you got to deal with. You know what I'm saying?
I don't regret doing it. I was trying to give an example, but I love that you've taken it and ran with it. Keep going.
Thank you, man. So the music
Cheers.
by Jody Gray and Andy Ezra, for me, is one of the most important things to Courage. That puts such a stamp on it. I'm going to go ahead and say I believe that music is a character in the show. The music is its own distinctive thing, and it's a wide variety of styles, but there was a thematic similarity to it all at the same time. I can't say that there's any one particular track, but I did want to comment on the music and the importance of the music. I couldn't even point out a track, and that being said, Jody Gray, who's the primary musical aspect of Courage, so Andy Ezra also part of it. So I just finished post-production on a short film that I produced and star in called Hunter is Fucked, but actually it's spelled F***, K, the way they censor it out, K-E-D. And it's a short film that we're putting out into film festivals. It's already getting ready to launch into film festivals. And we're Hunter is Fucked, where I played the great journalist Hunter S. Thompson as an older man. Any of you have ever heard of Hunter S. Thompson or know him, you get to see Marty Grabstein do Hunter S. Thompson. It's very different from Courage the Cowardly Dog, but you could probably, from seeing me here today, imagine that I could probably do that character. That being said, Jody Gray did the music for this short film. I got Jody Gray to do it, and he absolutely saved my ass. I think it's really good, the film, but without his music, it's significantly less good, which is the way it often is. especially in like, what would Halloween be without the music?
Without Carpenter's music, which
Right?
is what I was gonna
You know
say.
what I'm saying, right? So music is really important. So with that question, I got to answer his question and put in a plug for my own personal stuff I got going on. Keep an eye out for Hunter as fuck.
Can you see this right here? Talk about Hunter Thompson short right here. It's going up in the
I had a feeling you would be.
But because he's a famous Kentuckian, I'm about to take it away from you all just for a half second. Why Hunter? Because Hunter is actually one of my favorite authors of all time. It's not just because I'm also from Kentucky and Hunter's also from Kentucky. What was it about it? And did you shave your head?
I shaved my head. Yes. I shaved my head, which is something I was very terrified about doing. And, you know, as an older
too.
man, Hunter Thompson lost his hair as younger. He was losing it in his late 30s, I think. But it was completely bald. So I completely went bald all the way on the top and kept this very, very short around the sides, that middle, that look. You know what I'm saying? The look you're entertaining doing sometime soon, I think, right? My friend in the green shirt, right? Not yet. Don't do it yet. Don't do it. Don't do it. No, it was quite a thing to do that. And I looked in the mirror and I was like, oh. But it was great because it was surrendering
to the character.
I did a little Robert De Niro, right? I
Right.
gained 67 pounds, but I did the 67 pounds on my own without any help and without any movie.
Hey.
I just did it.
Johnny Depp shaved his head to play him.
That's right.
So at
Absolutely.
least you could do is shave your head.
Maybe Amber will shave her head too.
Maybe.
And I love Amber. I love them both.
Did you
We're coming back to you.
did you try Hunter's daily routine? I'm not sure.
No, I did not. I did not try Hunter's daily routine, but I try to touch on it just a little bit in the short film at one point. That daily routine is sort of, you see it, just briefly. Though there's elements of the daily routine throughout, but the full out, concentrated drinking and drugging and all the stuff that you young people should say no to. You understand? Even some of you old people should say no to. And I say old because there's nothing wrong with the word old. I'm tired of this nonsense. What's wrong? I'm old. I'm 67. I'm old. Nothing wrong with that word. I'm elderly. I'm older.
I don't know about elderly. I would not use that word.
As George
Euphemism.
Carlin said, we don't have any old people here anymore. We got rid of them. And we shipped in a whole new group of senior citizens.
When I teach euphemisms in my communication class, I use that whole stand-up routine.
Great,
Euphemism,
right?
euphemistic language. That's absolutely.
Amazing, right?
He's 90 years young.
He's 90 years young.
Yeah. All right. Who's next? Sorry. Oh, all the way in the back. I'm totally. Go ahead.
How were you approached to do courage?
How were you approached to do courage?
What?
Think of the idea of the book.
Okay, what did I think of the idea? Well, first of all, I was actually working, and an old friend of mine approached me, came up to me. I had not actually heard from her in over 5 years, and somehow it's like, oh, she approached me. She said, "Hey, Marty, I see you." She saw one of the reviews of Lab Rats, what I was talking about earlier. So I weaved that in again. It's really, I'm starting to become, in a sense, a master at trying to weave in things. It's taken me quite some time of screwing up.
No.
And I will be doing more screwing up, including the one I did at the beginning of this interview where I had to redo it. Thank you for being a part of the redo. You missed the redo. I redid my whole entrance. Anyway. Okay. Anyway, what was I talking about?
You were talking about how lovely I was to bring up Lab Rats and set you up for that great.
No, just now, the question from the guy.
He wanted
How
to-
was I approached
how did
and
you
what did
get
I
this
think
job?
of it? No, I got it. You don't have to help me. So she approached me and she says, she said, I'm working with this guy, John Dilworth. He's putting together a new show called Courage the Cowardly Dog, an animated cartoon. And he's been auditioning people for the last 5 months. He's heard every, big voiceover artist in the city, over 300 voices. and he can't seem to arrive at, you know, a sound, how this leading character of Courage the Cowardly Dog was supposed to sound. So she said, at this point, I'm reaching out to people I know. So I'm reaching out to you. So I came in with no expectations or any idea of how I was even going to do this. But they didn't have any real description. They just said terrified, you know, the usual breakdown, but they didn't say how it should be done. So when I walked in, I didn't really think about it. I said, the best thing is not to think about it. Just go in and just do it. And maybe fall flat on my face or maybe not, you know. So he was loving, and I did it like this, like me. You know, all this frenetic
Animated.
gesturing and yammering and stammering and all that stuff. So he said, this is great, I'm loving this. Can you pitch it up here? And once I did that, he said, I think we got it. So basically I got it from that. And what's interesting about that is they chose a guy with a low-pitched, kind of raspy voice for this upper, you know, like that kind of guy. Very strange how that happened, right? As far as what I thought of the idea, right away I loved the idea. Because I loved the idea that this was a show featuring this little dog who's terrified of everything, even the smallest things, and is so terrified and small, diminutive in stature, and yet somehow faces some of the most horrifying villains and creatures, and somehow at the 11th hour finds the courage to stand up and battle and save his masters and save the world from these villains. And I thought, what a wonderful message that is to people, right? To young people especially, you know, that you can face your fears. You can face those anxieties I spoke about earlier, right? The ones that you create without any help from horror movies or books or comic books or anything like that. You can face these fears and come out the other end and be okay. It's a beautiful message, and I felt that right away. There was something special about that message. So, yeah.
There we go. All right, who's up? Yes, sir.
I'm sure everyone here is, you know, we all know the quote, "The things I do for love," and how iconic that is.
Yes.
I'm just wondering if there are any other quotes to you that have stuck to you working through the show. You know, everyone knows the things I do for love.
Muriel!
Yes, exactly.
Or, I have a feeling something bad is going to happen. Well, my name is John Philip Sousa, and it's not. And yet, they took my lines away, right? They took the lines away after the first season. Not all of them, but most of them. They kind of got rid of those. But so I had to create all of that without the benefit of those fun lines. And so that was even more of a, I know you didn't ask me that question.
No.
What was it like when they took the line? You guys, right? They took the lines away, but it was, and it wasn't, I'm not mad at them for doing that. They thought this would make everything more streamlined because they're always looking to up the ante, you know, and they did focus groups and they found that people were laughing and enjoying the and the screaming and all that and all those vocal gesticulations and histrionics rather than necessarily the lines themselves, which were relatively pedestrian in terms of their content. But I say one thing does not negate the other. So they've decided to go more absolutist on that. And yet, still they would have me go 1, 2, 3, which are words, and Muriel! Or yes! I'm saying words. So am I speaking or am I not speaking? It's never been decided. Is Courage a talking dog? We don't know. Scooby's a talking dog, that we know. Courage, we don't know if he's a talking dog. But he talks, yeah, but he sometimes doesn't. But who hears him? Well, the creatures, he talks to himself. So maybe he's not really talking. This is a kind of dialogue that went on for years, and it's still going on. I love that.
In the white, yeah, you've been.
Okay, I want to say that Kurt got me through college.
Hmm?
College once, at times. And then, did you ever get creeped out in an episode?
Doing what?
Did you ever get creeped out in an episode?
No, I never, because you know why I didn't get creeped out? Because I was really just in a recording booth, in a sterile environment, standing in front of a microphone and just, do number one. They would literally would be numbered. Like these things are numbered. His notes, number 1, 2, 3, whatever.
Oh.
I needed I needed a prop.
You're throwing away
Sorry,
my
babe.
secrets.
Sorry, babe. I needed a prop.
Sit with you. Go ahead, please.
So basically, yeah, I never got creeped out, but it would be interesting if I did, though. That would have been interesting, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, who's up next? Who's up the bat? All right, I saw you and then you, okay? So you, sir, in the green?
So, have you ever had a moment where you've voice acted an episode and then you go back to look at it and you're thinking, this is nothing like what I said? It gives off such a different vibe than what you had when you were in the recordings.
Great question. Nobody's ever asked me that question. That's a great question. And the answer is yes. There were times when I would watch it, I was thinking, did I sound like that? Now, you have to understand, there were times they would do something with the sound. They would sometimes, speed it up or slow it down. They would modulate it. But besides that, I think there were times when I just didn't know what I was doing. And then when I watched it, I was like, did I do that? It's kind of like that, because I didn't know really what I was doing. And and not knowing was a good thing in this case. I knew enough to know, just try shit. If it doesn't work, go try something else. I got the job already. And especially once the first season was a success, they're not going to replace me, so whatever. I'm going to, the pressure was off to, not that I didn't find personal pressure to make sure I did well. You always have that. But are they going to like me? Was gone. So that was gone, and that's always good when that goes away. That's never good. Are they going to like me? Do they like me? Am I good? Do they think I'm good? I would say that to you. I'm nauseated to my friend. I'm saying, because she kept working. Does he like me? Does he think I'm doing a good job? Because he doesn't sometimes say anything to me. He goes, no, you're doing great, Marty. I go, I know you think does he think I'm very neurotic? You wouldn't have wanted to be around me then. Not like now.
Next question. Yes, ma'am.
How do you get into the mental headspace to play all these characters?
Oh, well, any character role? You mean any character role?
Courage.
Right, but specifically courage, or just any character I might decide to play?
Really just any of them.
Yeah.
It's kind of like you just take a moment to relax, just say that for this moment I'm going to be this character. I've worked on it. You mean to perform it?
Yes.
Okay, because you've rehearsed it, I've worked on it, I've played around, I've done my preparation. So now when I go in to record, or if I'm doing a live thing, same thing, right? Or if I'm doing a movie or a television, whatever it is, same thing. You got to kind of just relax and go, just try to create this little box that I'm in that is not millions of people looking at me, or judgmental faces looking at me like directors or producers, or it's just me in my own personal space. And when I can do that, then I'm able to kind of make things happen, and that's really how I would do it,
Okay. You go fast. Before so I'll go here. Go.
So the Scooby-Doo and the Courage movie
Crossover.
Do you think Cartoon Network will reach out to you saying, wanting to bring back Courage? Do you think that will ever happen again?
Tell me, please, make it happen. Please make it happen, because it's ridiculous. Everything else, so many other things came back. They don't know that you guys exist. They don't know, they don't really understand that you guys care enough to sit here on a busy day in a convention and listen to me talk nonsense, you know? And so, honestly, do I think it's gonna happen? It'll only happen if they decide or figure that it's something that makes sense, you know, financially, I'm sure. So that's like kind of the bottom line. And the only thing, the way they're gonna know that, is that me on the circuit, on these convention circuit, more and more I'm seeing that people love that show. I'm happy to go for the ride on that. You know, I did good work on it. I'm not negating my work, but I got really fortunate, you know, to be involved in such a show, right? And so I feel really good. But people loved it, and it's a great show, and it's a great spirit, and this, you can't argue with this. It's a formula. It's all put together. It's ready to go. Or you just got to come up with new ideas, but you can do that. There's enough talented people that can do that. And certainly if they approach John Dilworth and said, give me Courage the Cowardly Dog again, he'll say yes. Right, John? Right. Right, John? He will. So yeah, let's hope it happens. I think they have to find out, they figure it out. But the crossover was great, I thought. And yet, how many people here knew that there was a Courage Scooby-Doo crossover? All right, now then, make sure you raise your hands with. How many people did not know? Look at about half and half.
Yeah.
And these are people that like Courage the Cowardly Dog. Why would you not know? No promotion to speak of. Why? With all the money, I don't care, but the pandemic messed this up. Nonsense. You do it online, you promote it online, you promote it, I mean, nonsense. Yes, I was not able to make an appearance in Madison Square Garden at the dog show with me and Scooby, Frank Welker and Marty Grabstein make an appearance, which they were talking about doing before the pandemic happened. And they were talking about us making an appearance together at the Westminster Kennel and Dog Show. So, you know, all these live events. So you don't do that, but do online events. Still do it. They didn't do it. So I'm annoyed with them. I'm annoyed with Warner Brothers for that. They did a minimal amounts of promotion.
Technically, we're running out of time, but I know we started a little late, and I think we're good if I do just 2 more questions. All right?
Mm-hmm.
So, who has 2 who haven't asked yet? And remember, Marty's going to be here all weekend, so if you don't get a question answered, I bet this guy would love for you to stop by his table.
Come by the table. You don't have to, honestly, just come by if you just want to say hello. Obviously, I'm selling stuff, but you don't have to buy if you don't want to buy. Just come by and say hello and, you know, ask me a question, whatever it is.
Right.
I'm fine with that. So, yeah, please.
All right. You, and then we're done, okay? Yes,
Who's
sir.
your favorite character besides the villains, besides Courage, out of all the characters?
That's an easy one. Miriam. Can't argue with that. And God bless you, Thea White. So saddened by the loss of Thea White, who left us about a year ago. Great lady, one of my favorite people on the earth. Great friends. We became really good friends as time went on. And she was so wonderful. And she was Muriel. But besides the sad, you know, loss of her, what a great character. She was love. She was pure love as a character. And that's nice with all that terror and horror and then abuse from Muriel, from Eustace, and all this nasty, ugly things. We had this pure love-like orb of brilliance. Kind of great.
Cool. And you have the last question.
So, is there a set designated record for the longest stretch of just incoherent stammering anywhere in the archives, and however many seconds for like just the longest amount of time?
You know what? I don't know is my answer, because I know they did. There is a scream that went, I think, 23 seconds. Wow. So the scream for 23 seconds, but the pure, well, why don't we, you know, the stammering is easier to do. All right, you know what? Time it right now. Start, go. Oh, really? Say when to go.
When?
The sheet.
All right. 3, 2, 1, go.
And with that, huh? 20 seconds. We did it.
Whenever he reached over to the other guy, whenever he says, I love your beers, I'm telling you, of course.